A very warm good evening to everyone present here. I, Riya Khanna, on behalf of Geeta Ratan International Business School, take this opportunity to welcome you all to this virtual platform for the Finance Management Development Program 2021 on the theme Financial Emotional Intelligence. Geeta Ratan International Business School was established in the year 2004. The institute is affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Delhi. The institute is conducting MBA, MBA International Business, BBA LLB, BA LLB, and BBA programs. GIBS is approved by All India Council for Technical Education, Ministry of HRD, Government of India for Management Courses, and Bar Council of India for Law Courses. The institute is accredited as A grade by NAC and accessed as category A+ by Joint Assessment Committee of Government of Delhi and Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. The institute has been rated grade A, which is the highest rating by Academic Audit Cell of GGSIP University consecutively from the past 8 years. GIBS has also been rated number 2 by Times B School Survey for the years 2018 and 2019. Intelligence quotient gets you hired, but emotional quotient gets you promoted. In a world full of digital transformation, there is one area within finance which cannot be automated. That is face-to-face communication with clients and key stakeholders. This requires someone with a high level of competency in emotional intelligence, an executive or a manager that can positively engage with a range of different individuals. The importance of emotional intelligence measured by the emotional intelligence quotient cannot be underestimated, especially in the customer relationship process of finance organizations. Understanding personal emotional behavior and that of others, then being able to analyze and use the data to thrive decision making has now become a powerful tool in the customer relationship journey. But exactly what value can emotional intelligence bring to today's customer-focused finance businesses? This management development program is sensitized to participants about the concept, theory, and applications of emotional intelligence. This program will offer useful lessons with the help of practical exercises, case studies, and to show the roadmap to how to foster financial emotional intelligence in organizations for achieving success, happiness, and optimal performance at work and in personal life. It's a 2-day program which will cover various aspects of emotions, emotional intelligence, financial emotional intelligence, and its relevance in personal and professional life, and how to develop your financial emotional intelligence acumen. The program schedule is designed as both the days has 2 sessions. Today's session are on the application of emotional intelligence in financial decision making and how to manage your corporate financial psychology, which will be conducted by Dr. Pooja Sharma and Professor A.S. Ram Narayanan respectively. Day 2 sessions will be on emotional intelligent investor and how to manage your personal financial psychology, which will be conducted by Dr. Saif Siddiqui and Professor A.S. Ram Narayanan. So, moving further with today's event, there are 2 sessions. Topic for the first session is application of emotional intelligence in financial decision making. And to address this topic, I would like to invite the speaker, Dr. Pooja Sharma. Ma'am has graduated from Delhi University and completed her master's degree in business administration from Bharati Vidyapeeth Deemed University, New Delhi. She is also UGC NET JRF qualified. Dr. Sharma has a PhD in finance from Bharati Vidyapeeth Deemed University, New Delhi. She currently serves as Senior Assistant Professor in Management Department at Geeta Ratan International Business School. She is also an active reviewer in Scopus and UGC approved journals. She has been awarded Young Research Scholar Award under Saimuddin Memorial ICA Research Scholar Award at All India Commerce Association Conference. Dr. Sharma's research interests are focused on emotional finance, behavioral finance, emotional intelligence, financial emotional intelligence, mutual funds, etc. We welcome you, ma'am. Now, I would like to request the participants to kindly put their questions in the chat box during the session so that ma'am can answer them for you. You can take the session further now, ma'am.
Thank you, Ria. Ria, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, just help me out if I'm able to share the presentation. Is the presentation visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. So, very good evening to all of you. So, I personally welcome all of you in the first session of this MDP. So, we have a lot of things to discuss today and tomorrow. So, today, the topic for this first session is application of emotional intelligence in financial decision making. So, we are going to talk a little bit about a lot of things so that you'll get some idea, and I'll create your base to understand the concept of financial emotional understanding, and so that you can continue with the follow-up sessions, because follow-up sessions are little advanced, so that it's important for you to understand the basic of the theory, and then we'll move forward. So today we will start with the first thing as emotions. So emotions are what? It's a word which is very frequently used, repeatedly used. But what do we mean by this actually? So emotions are the valuable signals that help us survive and thrive. When we learn how to use them, emotions help us make more effective decisions, connect with others, find and follow purpose, and lead a more wholehearted life. Just imagine three things: feelings, thoughts, and actions as three legs of a tripod. First you get a feeling about something, your thoughts are generated on the basis of those feelings, and on the basis of those feelings, you take the actions, right? So, feelings, thoughts, and actions. It's a three legged tripod, although all these 3 points are independent, but they are connected. And if one is overemphasized, the tripod is going to be out of balance. Now, we've talked about emotions. We already know about intelligence. So, what is emotional intelligence? I'll just be very crisp with the definition. Emotional intelligence means being smarter with your feelings. It is about putting together the rational and the emotional. I'll not say rational and irrational, because being emotional is also sensible, right? So it's about putting together the rational and emotional so you can move forward effectively. That's emotional intelligence. It starts with seeing feelings as a valuable data. Emotional intelligence helps us to balance the tripod of feelings, thoughts, and actions so that all these three ingredients can work well. But that sounds so theoretical, that always your head and your heart will move together. They are not always hand in hand. If they are, then it's really good for you. But in majority cases, you will find that, they are poles apart, as we can see in the other picture. Although they will be at poles apart, your task is to balance. Your task is to balance well, so that you will take calculative, fine decisions in your life, so that you do not fall prey to your emotions and end up making wrong decisions. Now, those decisions can be personal, that can be professional, and that can be financial as well. So, as we'll move ahead in the presentation, we will see the important role of emotions in our financial decision making as well. So, emotional intelligence basically help us to balance between our heart and our mind. I'll just take you fast through this emotional intelligence model. I'll just take you through these 4 pointers quick. Self awareness is about getting aware about your own emotions, understanding what you feel, why you feel so. Emotion self management is about, once you've understood what you're going through, self management is about managing the emotions. Only understanding will not work. If you are depressed, if you are angry, if you are not happy about something, if you're sad about something, then you need to work it out. You just cannot stay in that depression phase. You cannot stay in that sad phase. You need to work it out and get out of it, right? Third is social awareness. Social awareness is getting awareness about your surroundings, what people around you feel. When you go and meet out people, when you go and talk to people, are they really happy talking to you, or do they just see you coming from the corridor and they just go down through the stairs? So you need to see what kind of aura you portray to people. So you need to know about how people and what people are thinking and feeling. Last is the relationship management. Relationship management is about understanding what people are going through even without their saying, even without their telling, right? So self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. These are the four very important elements. But yes, I would just like to tell you that self-awareness, which is the least visible of these abilities, is the most important one. It's basically foundational. This is one of those hard to see empirical underpinnings, which if you are not able to tune, if you're not tuned to yourself, you can't manage yourself well. You don't tune into a certain range of your own experiences. You won't be able to recognize that range in other people. And the last point, the relationship skill element, which is most obviously leadership skill, is built from the other three. So we need to understand these four elements, the sequence of them, and we need to follow. Definitely, we will be able to reach to relationship management only once we are through with the previous three. We will be able to reach at self-management only when if we are able to understand what we are going through. If we are self-aware, only then we will be able to self-manage. Yes. Now, one thing which most of my colleagues who are into finance, they will be able to understand that, as business leaders or entrepreneurs, many of us were trained to separate emotional success from financial success. But those were the old days. Now, the days of keep your feelings out of business are long gone. More than ever, we are realizing that it is our moment to moment dominant feelings that determine the level of success we experience, both emotionally and financially. You must have seen a lot of people, who have great financial wealth, but who seem to lack substance. And we have also met people who had very little money to their name, but deeply felt the extent of our humanity. This can be somebody, who is sitting on a very high position, but completely lacks humanitarian element. Or maybe, your liftman, you can see that he is very considerate, he's very affectionate, and he's very understanding, right? He sees that, if an old lady is coming and carrying a bag, so he will himself go out and help her. So that was the personal thing. But when we talk about keeping your feelings into emotions, it is very, very important. When you keep your emotions in your business, that is what you're taking it for a longer way. If you want to see your business as a going concern organization, only then you will be able to survive in the long run. If you are not working only with machines, you need to consider the fact that you're working with humans, and they need to be considered as human beings. They are not the machines, right? So as an entrepreneur, as a boss, you need to, whether if even if you're at leadership positions, you need to keep this thing in mind very clearly. Yes, this is something very important. Emotions and finance, and emotions in finance. So these are two different aspects of emotions with reference to finance. Emotions and finance tells us that how they are interrelated, and emotions in finance says that how emotion is an important part of finance. It basically helps us to understand the role. Why? Because emotions are complex and very intrusive. Being in tune with them can help us build a deeper sense of purpose into our financial decisions, leading to a greater sense of fulfillment. Understanding and processing emotions can also prevent us from acting rashly, particularly during to these times of crisis. When times are tough, it is easy to react out of fear or anger. Some of us must be investing in stock market, and when we saw this global pandemic coming, we sold all our stocks because we thought that market is going to be in depression and we are not going to get anything out of it. So out of fear, we sold all these stocks. When we are confused or frustrated, many of us tend to ignore certain aspect of our finances rather than facing the reality at hand. So, leveraging your EQ, your emotional quotient, means that you can create space for those emotions and understand them for what they are, instead of letting your mood drive your emotions. Then, bring in your financial knowledge to ensure you're being as strategic as possible in your decision making. By blending these two aspects of intelligence, emotion oriented and return oriented, you can make more informed and thoughtful decisions about the wealth and the incomes and returns which you want to generate. Here, I would like to talk about a trend, a topic which is so much trending these days, is emotional finance, because we're talking so much about emotion. So this is just just to give you a little awareness about how this particular subject is exploring. Emotional finance is basically a new paradigm in the understanding of investment activity and prediction of asset prices and market behavior. It differs from traditional finance theory and behavioral finance. As we know, traditional finance theory always presented investors as rational beings, and behavioral finance, although recognizes that investors are prone to behavioral biases, but implicitly somewhere assumes that investors can still learn to be rational. But emotional finances recognizes that people are inherently irrational and largely driven by their emotions, both those of which they are consciously aware, and importantly, those which are unconscious. Like, it means that we are aware about some of the emotions, we are conscious about them, but some elements of emotions we are currently unconscious. We just do it. We do it in the unconscious frame of mind. And one thing which is very important is these unconscious emotions play a very, very important role in our financial decision. I'll just take you through these pictures. You can see, as it's already written, that an investor's worst enemy is not the stock market, but his own emotions. This was the perspective of the traditional finance, of the behavioral finance. Why? Because they always thought that investors are prone to their emotions. Investors are have a habit of feeling prey to behavioral biases, emotional biases. So definitely, whatever mistakes they are making, it's not about the stock market; it's about their own decision making powers. You can have a look on the picture which is below and showing emotions of investing. These are the reactions of people, which are from their investing decisions. We can have a look on the other side of the picture. On the right side, we can see the after effects of good financial decisions, whereas on the left side, we can see the after effects of the wrong financial decisions. So definitely, this is the role of emotion. Here, we are able to see the reactions in the form of emotions. Somebody is happy, somebody is sad, somebody is confused. So definitely, yes, emotions have a very, very strong role to play in our financial decision making. Now, I'm going to take a poll. There are 6 questions which we will take one on one, and through this, you will get to know about your own emotional quotient, right? So, we are going to start with question number 1. You can check poll has been started. Please read the question carefully and mark your answer. You have 60 seconds. Kindly read the question and mark your answer. I think we can end the poll now. The question is, you have been denied promotion by the management for which you were eligible. Moreover, one of your juniors has been promoted. You are emotionally upset and feel frustrated. What will you do? So there are four options which are given to you, where you're taking decisions and your actions are giving you different kind of reactions. So we can see, all of you can see the poll, that 28% attendees have said that they will go and talk to their boss about this, whereas the majority has said that you will identify your shortcomings and try to improve your performance. So who all have given option 4, option D, give yourself 20 marks. Yes, of course. That shows, and pat your back for giving such a good answer, because that is something which is showing a little higher IQ. So this is the first question. So I'll not compliment you on your IQ, on your EQ here, but yes, this is the right answer. This is the correct answer. This is the right strategy to handle these kind of situations, because going out and talking to your boss or talking to the management will be fine, but first sit down and think about what is lacking in you or how you can improve on the same thing, right? So yes, of course, we can go to the next question now. Have a look on the question. Second poll is ready. Read the question and please mark your answer. I can see some feedback in the chat box. Okay. I think we can close second poll. Let's have a look on what most people have reverted to. The second question is, you get into an argument with your colleague and end up attacking him or her personally. Later, you realize that you never intended to tarnish the image of your colleague. How will you handle such an ugly situation? Can we have the results for second question? Can we have responses for second question, please? These are the responses for question 1. Can we have it for question number 2, please? Okay, so now we are getting some answers. Okay, fine. So majority has opted for first option, which is sit calmly and consider what triggered off the argument and if it was possible to control your anger at the time. Now the results are changing. Oh my God, I can see it changing here itself. Okay, so right now I can see that maximum people are in a position to apologize to a colleague for your behavior. Yes, of course. Even I said, I just saw that Bharti wrote that, can we take both A and C? Like you want to do self analysis and you want to apologize to your colleague as well. Yes, definitely, of course, you can take both of these. That will even, make your EQ little more higher. Right. And when we're talking about question number one, because I just saw Uma ma'am has written that, if I'm eligible, then why should I do introspection? See, eligibility is here, ma'am. The concept is that I'm eligible according to me. I think that I'm eligible, but maybe management has some, something other than this, which I can see. So, what are the parameters I need to see on the basis of which my junior has been promoted? What extra, what Z factor he or she had due to which he was promoted? And then I need to do first step should be the introspection. Then after that, if you want to talk to your management about the decision, you can go. But the first step should be to do the introspection. And when I'm talking about the next one, yes, here also, in this case also, you can go and apologize to your colleague very well, but that will be the second stage. First, sit down, analyze the situation, and then go and talk to your colleague. First, understand what triggered you for this, and was it correct to respond in such a way, or you could have taken some other step to it, right? So yes, of course. Let's go fast to the next question. Third one, third poll. Please activate us. Please publish it. Your grown-up son, the question in the poll will be reading your grown-up daughter only. So it is for both the genders, because teenagers of same age, there are no gender biases. All the kids are same these days. So your grown-up son or daughter starts arguing with you every now and then. He or she tells you that you cannot impose your old-fashioned attitude and outdated values on her. How will you tackle her? So how are you going to handle your child in this manner? I can see answers changing very fast. Okay, so majority is on the son or daughter's side, that you are going to understand their beliefs, their emotions, what they're going to tell you. See, what the perspective is, you are, you're giving them some guidance. You're telling them something out of your own experiences. You are telling them something on the basis of, as you definitely have more exposure than your kids. So you definitely have a little different perspective and better perspective about things. So here I would personally disagree with the answers of majority. I will go with the minority of 30%. Thus, yes, manage your emotions and explain your point of view as patiently as possible. Because child has already explained. She has already told you, or he has already told you that, stay away. Don't get into it. वहां से तो आ गया है already. Your child has already given it to you. You have understood. Now it's your turn. You need to be patient and you need to explain. You need to communicate. It is very, very important, because if you are not going to communicate, then the relationship is not going to stay, right? It's not going to get that depth. So, yes, of course, here, the first right approach will be to manage your emotions and explain your point of view as patiently as possible, right? So, let's just go fast to the next question. Or what we can do is we can keep these running. We can keep these polls running so that I can take the session forward, and we can discuss about this. Let me just have a look on the chat box. Right. Uh, Fine. Okay. Okay. See, so yes, so we have some. I've got the answers for next question. Yes, of course. You are a professor in a college. While delivering a lecture, a student comments that you have not prepared the topic properly and you are just passing the time. This has hurt your self-esteem. What will be your reaction? Yes, exactly. This is the right approach. Majority says that yes, we will judge the emotions of the class and promise to make amendments accordingly. Right? If we call the individual student in our chamber and ask what was your issue, so that is going to entertain, that is going to tackle the issue of that individual student only. First, we need to know what other people are also facing. Are they all agree with that student who has commented? If they do, then yes, of course, as a professor, it's my responsibility to work it on in a better way. Right? So just one last question. See, for this, I'm not going to mark anyone because in these situations, whatever you do, everything is fine. You just had an argument with your spouse on some trivial family matter and are not speaking term, and you are not on speaking terms for some time. The situation is causing mental disturbance to both of you. So what will you do? To break the ice, oh my God, 100% response says to break the ice by analyzing the reason for conflict. See, I am okay. I'm perfect. Even if you break the ice, if you make the first move, even if you wait for the spouse to make the first move, I'm perfectly all right. No hassles. This is individual to individual. This is relationship to relationship. But yes, of course, it is always good. You will be showing a little mature reaction this way if you try to break the ice and analyze the reason for the conflict. Yes, of course, I'll go with the majority. Exactly. Yes, you should do this. One last question. You have lived your life for so many years on this earth. How would you like to explain your life at the moment in one sentence? Successful, okay, comfortable, or uncomfortable? So, what do you all think? Yes, 60% says that yes, they are contented with their life. Oh, the number is changing fast. Okay, 55% are saying now that they are comfortable in their life. Okay, I can see 8% who says that, I feel I deserve better but could not get it. No hassles, you will make it for sure. And the 50% who says that life is good, we are going to make it even better, right? So yes, of course, we have been through this, and now I can say that out of the participants, you all are above the average EQ because we've agreed on most of the answers. Some answers and some questions we differed, but yes, I had my logic and I was reading the chat box simultaneously. So yes, you people had your own logics. As in the question when we were talking about the reaction of a student in the class on the professor's teaching style that day. So yes, of course, even if one student mentioned or even if one student reacted to that to your manner, it is your responsibility as a teacher to get the feedback of all these students on the same platform, on the same topic. And if majority gives you that yes, we think that he is right, then it is my responsibility to work it out. Right? Okay. So now we need to know the reason and we need to see how emotions and financial decision making is related. The emotional center of the brain is very close to the decision making center of the brain. When your thoughts trigger negative emotions and you don't understand or manage them, they can hijack your brain. And once it does that, the first place it shuts down is the decision making part of the brain, which is why when we are stressed or anxious, we get freezed. You can take example of these days of the second wave of corona pandemic. When we saw our near and dear ones, our loved ones were struggling, were suffering from some or the other diseases, and there was no oxygen, no beds in hospitals. What kind of stress we have been through, and how we survived through all that, right? So, of course, you need to manage, you need to understand your emotions, and then accordingly move forward. When we're talking about the emotions and the financial decision making, so I will take you through four steps where or four dimensions to it, basically, where you need to focus, some manners in which you need to focus, how you're going to work it out, and how it is going to help you in the financial decision making as a family. Now the perspective will be a little different, because the whole idea, what we are talking here, is not about me, it's not about you. FEI, financial emotional intelligence, is a concept of life. It is not about females, it is not about males. This is just a second. It is not about genders, it is not about age, it is not about education. This concept is for all. This concept is for life. Even a child of 5 years, a teenager of 15 years, somebody who has just started working, somebody who is in middle age, or somebody who has even been retired. Everyone needs to understand this concept. And this needs a holistic approach through which we can work together as a family, we can work together as a community, we can work together as an economy. Right? So, first, I'll take both first and second points together, where we will talk about you and your family's financial well-being and application of your EQ and IQ to your family financial planning. See, when we speak about money, we often focus on the technical aspect of our financial capabilities, investment portfolios, and trust. But being in touch with our emotional intelligence specifically tells us, how informed we are about priorities and our decision making. The solution to making sound decisions that contribute to you and your family's financial well being has two aspects. First is that all the family members should be self aware emotionally. Emotional awareness should be given a space in the lives of all your kids, whether your child is of 3 years, 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, irrespective of the age and irrespective of the gender. Everyone in the family needs to be empathetic towards each other's needs and consistently communicate. That's what I told you in the previous slides as well, that communication is very, very important. When we were doing those poll questions, I told you that communication is very important. So you need to talk about the feelings, the thought process, the logic which you have with your teenage or your grown up child, so that he or she can tell you what they think, you can tell what you think, and yes, let's have an open discussion, detailed discussion. That will make us understand each other, and that will make us take right decisions in life. Right? Second is to work towards the future you and your family members want to achieve. See, this balancing act is very, very important in these crisis times like COVID, when stress levels are running very high and our finances are less stable. So, this is going to be a foundation building on empathy and trust, which will allow you to navigate challenging conversations about money and unpredictable terrain of today's circumstances. You never know what's happening. I don't know. Third wave is about to come. Is it going to affect the kids? How it is going to affect the elders now? So life is not going to be the same anymore. But what level of uncertainties are there? We need to be strong enough to handle them even in our finances. So your financial EQ matters on a personal level. And it's even more important when thinking about communication and planning within the family, where everyone tends to bring a different and, sometimes competing perspective. We know that, these days there are no jobs, or even if jobs are there, there are lesser paid jobs, and there are many more combinations to the problems. And top of it, private schools have been permitted by Supreme Court to take annual fees. Kids have been staying home since last 1.5 or 2 years. So, they may demand you a whooping amount of PlayStation, or they can ask you for PSP4 or even a geared cycle, which can cost you somewhere around 20,000. I am saying it on a very conservative side. I hope my kids are not standing outside and this will not give them any idea that they are going to claim me that, get us all these things. So, yes, of course, you need to sit down and talk to your family. Even your child should understand. So, as a parent, or as an elder sibling, or even as a friend. Incorporate your financial emotional intelligence into your mentorship approach, which will help your younger generations engage in a way that's more meaningful to them. And when you leverage your emotional quotient and truly make an effort to to understand where each person is coming from, you can better navigate these conversations to help your family find a shared ground. Next, we can talk about the family wealth values in the new normal. We always talk about corporate values, standard values, family values. So we need to talk about family wealth values. But why? Why there's the term family wealth values? What are the values connected to wealth? This is because, once your family feels aligned on the common goals, you will enjoy it. It will be more effective. Two things which are very, very important here, that families must ensure that their wealth is managed and it is integrated with the values. One thing which I would like to tell you here is that families which have wealth, you know, they have originally come from modest financial circumstances. Whether you can talk about Ambanis, you can talk about Adanis, or anyone else, or the Khans, right, Bachchans. So they have all come out from the various very modest financial circumstances, arising from working or middle class life to make the journey to wealth. So their values, skills, and culture stem from the much less affluent world from they have emerged. The second, which is very important, is that affluent families must learn how to raise the next generation responsible with wealth. We have seen a lot of kids these days, who have a good, wealthy environment. They have, fun, wealth from generations. So they start, respecting money little less, respecting their wealth little less. So this is the responsibility of the parents, of the parenting style, grandparents, that, kids should value what is being given to them. So just involve a nice weave your coaching and mentorship into your parenting and your family dynamics by helping your younger family members to understand how money works from an early age. Last point is about building trust. So it's about financial trust again, I'm talking about. So teaching children about how stock market works, or about how budgets are prepared, what are family budgets, how do they prepare it. So it is very important, because incorporating your emotional intelligence into a mentorship approach along with the finances is going to help your younger generation understand the concept of money in a better way, and this is what going to help them in their career building. So please make sure that you tell your kids, you discuss with them what it is, what money is all about, why it is not everything in life, but yes, it is something which is hard earned and needs to be taken care of. Whether it was earned by your grandparents, by your parents, or it's the one who is going to earn the money now, right? So when I'm talking about financial intelligence, the emotional aspect has been well picturized by Dale Carnegie in his book How to Win Friends and Influence People. He said that yes, human beings are creatures of emotions rather than logic. Whereas the same thing, with a different perspective, was said by Warren Buffett in an interview which he gave to Foreign Fortune magazine. He said that while reasonable intelligence is essential in successful investing, but temperament is the key. So greed and fear are the two emotions that drive the markets, and prudent investors should know when to be greedy and when to be fearful. So you need to balance. You just cannot walk only in one lane. You need to understand what's happening. You need to have the capacity to balance. So now finally we come to the concept of financial emotional intelligence. But before I go to the rabbit hole, let me ask you, what do you think is financial emotional intelligence? I'll just share a definition which I just came across about financial emotional intelligence. Investopedia says that being financially emotionally intelligent has to do with the need to live within your means, and to live within your means, you must spend less than you make. Do you agree with this definition? Do you agree? If you do, then don't think that you're alone. There are many people who are going to think that being financially emotionally intelligent has to do with being financially responsible. Just think about it. It's not always being miser or spending your money in a very very shrewd manner. See, FEI, financial emotional intelligence, is understanding what we feel about money and why we feel the same, so we can feelingly welcome more money into our lives and enjoy it. You don't take my word for it? Not able to relate to what I'm saying? No problem. Let's just take a small exercise. Let's just do a very, very small exercise together. I'll just read it for you, and you just need to think. And you're not supposed to write anywhere. You're not supposed to click answers in any poll. It's just that you need to go through it, feel that moment, which I'm going to ask you about. Think about the last financial decision you made prior to attending this session. Any expense you made, maybe you paid for some groceries, maybe you paid for this session, you paid some fees for attending this session, anything which you any expense which you made. So whatever that money decision was, did you really stop and take stock of what you're feeling in that moment when the financial transaction took place? So it's about what you felt in that moment. The reason I'm stressing the importance of noticing your dominant feelings when money crosses our hands in any form is because we make decisions emotionally first before justifying them rationally. Just take an example, if I buy a diamond jewelry, if I buy some luxury car, if I buy some penthouse, wow, I'm going to feel so good. On the other side, if my son asks me to buy some diamonds in his free fire game, or if say my daughter asks me to buy a Gucci belt, that's totally nonsensible. According to me, it's 25,000 belt. No sense. Not at all. I'm not going to buy her that by any means, because these kind of spendings will take my heart away along with the money. So this is what I'm asking about. Just take a little pause, think for a moment, and just give yourself that memory. Go back into that memory, that what you felt when you made a last decision. Just agree. Just think about it. I'm giving you 30 seconds for it. And why I'm saying this, I'll just tell you. I hope you have realized, and you are back to your memory. You've thought about it. I tell you that there is something called ego mind. In every moment, our ego mind uses the dominant feeling we are experiencing to dip into the pool of memories we have associated with that specific feeling. Just give me an example. I'll just give you an example that, you wanted to buy a car. You went to a Maruti showroom and the budget was 5 lakh rupees. You had all the discussions, you saw the cars and it was good. And in the evening when you came back, you end up buying a Honda car worth rupees 8 lakh. Now, how to convince yourself for spending this 3 lakh rupees extra? You're going to tell yourself it's a better brand. If that was a hatchback, it's a sedan car. It has automatic sunroof and there's a lot of other better techniques. So it's fine. I'm happy that I spent 3 lakh rupees extra. All of us have heard, dil ko behlane ke liye ghalib khayal acha hai. So that ego mind is that dil ko behlane wala khayal. There is something which you are going to tell yourself to convince yourself that, even if I've spent more, so it's fine, it is justified. So FEI tells you that you do not need to justify it to yourself or to anyone else, right? Because the emotion, why you spend that 8 lakh, because the one glance which you gave to that car, that moment you knew that it's worth buying it for 8 lakh rupees. Right? So this is what I'm trying to tell you, that we keep on, giving explanations to ourselves, even not to anyone else. At least we try to give explanations to ourselves that this was budget was 5 lakh. We did it for 8 lakh. So now this is the plus points. So now I'm fine. Now I'm okay that I made the right decision. No need. It is important for you to be self-aware of this. You need to know why you did that. You don't need to convince yourself for this, why you took that decision. right? According to neuroeconomic research, the areas of the brain responsible for our emotional states powerfully influence how we think about risk and rewards. We frequently make what we firmly believe to be rational decisions. That 8 lakh Honda car was a rational decision in that moment. But those decisions are primarily based on the input of our emotions, not ideas, not data, not any kind of analysis. And mind, it's a common occurrence even among the experts. That is why financial emotional intelligence is an ongoing feedback loop that help us to experience exactly what we believe about money as we justify to ourselves every single belief and memory through our dominant feeling in the moment. So, the main feature of FEI is to bring together our intuitive and deliberate decision making processes. It is substantially directed at aligning the workings of our conscious and unconscious emotions. By being consciously aware of how our unconscious is affecting our decision making. This integration of conscious and unconscious allows us to make better choices, enhance our wisdom and inspiration, and avoid the errors that so many of us commit. Even more compelling is that FEI can be much more than merely educating our unconscious to bring our thinking forward to our conscious mind. It is about using our intuition for inspiration and wisdom, which means taking the time to reflect on our choices, ponder the evidence, and consider how our decisions will affect our emotional state. So, technically, FEI is a skill worth developing. It is a gift that we can uniquely give to ourselves. Now, there are some advantages of being financially, emotionally intelligent. So, yes, of course, it helps you to let go the stereotypes. It helps you to live your life on your own terms, emotionally and financially, because you are going to be emotionally strong, confident, and you're going to spend your money the way it is desirable. It helps you to develop deep, meaningful relations with the job, with your business, with your family, with your colleagues, with your friends. It helps you to create the ultimate legacy of success. Because if you're following FEI, it will help you to lead by example. Because your family, your younger generation, your siblings, your friends are going to observe you. And if you are doing good by following FEI, by depicting FEI, then definitely they are also going to learn this technique. Because this is something which can be learned. You just need to process it in your mind, nothing else. And yes, of course, it will give you a competitive advantage, because in this robotic world everything has been taken over by these computers and robots these days. So where do you stand? What is your USP in today's market? Your USP will be your EI and in your FEI. So if you have that emotional touch, even when you're dealing with a client who has not paid you since last 6 months, so that is going to give you a competitive edge. That is going to create your USP in the market, right? So that is why FEI is the predictor of ultimate success, because it is our dominant feeling that constantly determines the kind of business leader and entrepreneur we are. Being financially emotionally intelligent is the most human thing we can do. Just last 5 minutes, I'll just take you fast through the process and then how to develop your financial emotional intelligence and grow your wealth. Simple 3 steps, 3 things which you need to keep in mind. Have a plan of action. Save minimum 10% of your income. Minimize purchasing liabilities and spend strategically. So when I'm saying that you need to have a plan of action, then your plan of action need to be specific. It needs to be measurable. It needs to be attainable, realistic, tangible, inspirational, and yes, of course, you need to have your emotional touch. You need to feel about it. Okay, I'll just give you a very, very small example. Kids are, during this pandemic thing, online studies are there, and kids are in 10th, 12th, maybe, they're doing MBAs or master, their PGs, their masters. So a lot of people, a lot of kids I have observed that, they're doing things just to do. They're not involved. They're not into it. So they will only be into it once they have some emotional connection with it. Something which you feel about. Only then you can get connected to it, whether it is your studies, whether it is your house, whether it is your job, whether it is your profession, your business, anything, until and unless you feel connected to it, you will not be able to give your 100%. This is very sure. Next, I'll just take save 10% and spend strategically. So when you save and spend, you have to do both. First is that become financially aware. Whatever specialization, whatever work you do, that doesn't make any difference if you belong to finance background or not. Even if you're HR person, you're a marketing person, you're IT person, just know about the basic financial terms like liabilities, assets and all. Like, just be financially aware what's happening new in the market. Is Bitcoin good to invest, right? So just be aware. Are mutual funds really going to help us in the form of pension plans? So just know about it. Determine your financial stability levels. Be true to yourself and see that, yes, actually, are your financial stable or not? Is the income regularly coming or not? How much is coming regularly? Financial protection. Just save yourself. When I talk about financial protection, it is simply when we want to work on it, right? Financial protection can be the minimum amount which is required for you to pay your overheads, like your loan payments, your electricity, your gas, your transportation, daily transportation, your insurances, everything. So you need to have, this is the minimum amount which you need to earn every month. Next is your financial security. Now you need to see, after doing all your overheads, after doing all your basic minimum expenses, what is that extra amount which you need to earn, which you need to have? After this, you can get your financial independence. Financial independence is basically the money which you need to be financially independent of work. How much money do you now earn annually? And to duplicate your current lifestyle, it is likely that you need to duplicate your present monthly income also. So financial independence is like generate source of incomes in such manner that you do not depend on any one source of income. I'm repeating. Financial independence means generating as many source of incomes for you so that you do not depend on any one source of income. Next is creating the baby bucket principle. Baby bucket principle is simply, having four major categories of buckets. One is security bucket, like your physical cash, pension funds, LIC, mediclaims, investing some amount regularly in these buckets. Then there's growth, when you're buying some property for renting out, not for staying, for renting out. It is a source of income for you. Momentum bucket is like investing in the current stocks which are giving high returns. And a lifestyle bucket, which is, basically helping you out when you want to go out on a big vacation, when you want to go out on a holiday, when you want to do some, something really changing related to your lifestyle. So after this comes the financial freedom. Financial freedom is basically, this goal can be attained when your investments provide enough income for you to live the lifestyle you desire for the rest of your life without working. That is your choice, without working. So it is like that the kind of lifestyle you want to maintain should not be dependent on your working. Like if you're working 30 days in a month or 20 days in a month, only then you're going to get this much of money. And this much of money is going to help you to live your desired lifestyle. No, lifestyle is maintained the way it is. But yes, it depends on me whether I want to work or I do not want to work. So this is about how you will earn and how you will strategically spend it. So finally, concludingly, the premise of FEI is that formal knowledge of the subtle and complex ways our unconscious minds work and associated unconscious group process can help us understand better how asset valuation and investment judgments are made, how markets work, and why at times they break down, and so do us. So this new understanding can lead directly to better investment decisions and more effectively financial decision making. So these are some of the books which I wanted to refer to all of you for a read, and these are must reads. By Daniel Kahneman, it's Thinking Fast and Slow, Working with Emotional Intelligence. This is the part 2 by Daniel Goleman. His first part is by the name only, Emotional Intelligence. Then third book, Heart, Mind and Money, and Emotions in Finance. So these books are really good. Your home library must have these books. Go for these books, have a read, and develop a strong FEI. So yes, I would finally like to wind up by saying travel light, live light, spread the light, and be the light. Thank you very much for being such nice, and I could see a lot of comments in chat box, such involved audience. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
That was such an enlightening session to hear from you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I just want to mention some of the questions that the participants have asked. Uma ma'am wants to ask that whatever you have talked about indicates that lot of cognitive psychology plays important part in behavioral finance. Kindly enlighten.
Yes, of course, ma'am. Yes, these are the basics. But the only difference when we're talking about FEI is that behavioral finance understands you as being irrational, and it helps you to avoid the behavioral biases and take ultimately rational decisions. FEI tells you that it's fine. This is perfectly okay to be emotional, not irrational. It is perfectly okay to be emotional and take the decisions according to what Dil says, right? What your emotion says. So yes, of course, cognitive side is very, very involved. It has almost 80-85% involvement. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is again from Uma ma'am. She wants to ask about the excess volatility puzzle and hurdle in choosing right return distribution.
See, that depends. These things are basically different for individual investor to individual investor, because you need to see what is your risk bearing capacity. You need to see what is your temperament. What you need to see. For how long you want to invest. You need to see what is your purpose of investing. So according to these purposes, according to these parameters, different strategies can be prepared for different investors.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for answering the questions wonderfully. So there are no more questions. So we will move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So everyone, carrying forward the evening to the next session for the day, it will cover how to manage your corporate financial psychology. This MDP will cover the behavioral aspects of financial decision making. The participants shall be introduced to the theoretical, mathematical, and empirical underpinnings of anomalies and biases that investors face in financial markets. The program also focuses the behavioral approach of investment. These sessions will help participants to explore some of the most common biases and mistakes that individual makes while dealing with money. With the help of discussions on related theories, mathematical illustrations, and experimental exercises, participants should be able to become familiar with the terminology, techniques, and approaches used in behaviorally financial services. Most of techniques can also be relevant to traditional financial advisory services, the products and services in the fintech domain and public policy. And to address this topic, I would like to invite the speaker, Professor A.S. Ramnarayanan. Sir has 32 years of rich experience from industry and academics, along with 4 years in research. He did his undergraduation in commerce from University of Delhi and postgraduate from University of Madras. Sir has done Master of Philosophy from Bharathayar University and Annamalai University. He did his doctorate degree from Bharathayar University, Coimbatore. Sir started his career as a management trainee with SRF Nippon Denso Limited and worked in various capacities at management level in the field of accounting and finance for 8 years. And then he joined the Triveni Group of Industries as senior manager and scaled up to chief manager for a decade. In the academic field, Sir joined as a reader with GGSIPU affiliated colleges and worked in various capacities as associate professor, program director, dean, chairman in various AICTE approved institutes. He is currently working as a professor of finance at Geetharathan International Business School and holds fellow membership with Cost and Works Accountants of India and accredited as management teacher by AIMA as well. His area of specialization is quantitative banking finance. Sir has conducted few MDPs and FDPs for corporate executives and teaching fraternity in India. Apart from the above, Dr. Ram has also worked as examiner of Central University in few prestigious management institutes. He has also delivered lectures for PGDM program and executive program of IMT and FDDI, and has also published few articles in magazines, periodicals and journals. We welcome you, sir. Now, I would like to request the participants to kindly put their questions in the chat box during the session so that sir can answer them for you. Sir, you can take the session forward now.
So very good evening to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are clearly audible.
Yeah. Can you upload my PPT or I have to share the PPT from my side? Because I have already given. And
Yes,
so
sir. I'll just share.
otherwise I will upload. That's not a very big thing. Is.
No, sir, Pooja ma'am will
Yeah.
share. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and you give me the right so that I can move forward and backward. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to tell you about and say that how you are going to manage your corporate finance psychology is. See, normally an emotional intelligence, look here, in my next slide, let me tell you, when there is a miscommunication is there, or when the communication is being not passed properly, there is a chances of getting misunderstood by one person or the other. So due to that reason, different types of emotions arises in the human being. So normally, people always talk the emotional intelligence with respect to the human being only. But I felt that even the business has gotten emotions. So you will be wondering about how I'm going to explain this emotional intelligence for particularly for the business. How can you say, normally people say that emotional intelligence arises between the human beings. So let us see, in my research work, I've been carrying it out and working on this for many time. And whenever we started our commerce, that time we have been taught that business is a person. And in accounting concept, the very starting concept says that business and the owner are not one and the same. Okay, there's a separate entity concept is being made. So that means if a business is a person, I got a question that business has got some emotion. Okay, let us come to the next one. Then let us talk about a human being. Aristotle has, a Greek philosopher has already said, man is a social animal. According to him, he said that a man cannot live alone. He cannot live in isolations. But to me, it looks that human being is an animal. I'd like to prove why. The reason is that we have been given an 8 sense by the God, but the animals are given only in a say that non-human beings are given only in a 5 sense. On the 5 sense, how it works. That is what I want to show. Okay. Let us come to the next one. Life of a human being. How the life of the human being starts. It always starts with a loud cry. When a baby or an infant comes to this universe, it makes a sound. But recently, Pooja said that when the person goes out of this world, he goes with the satisfactions, which I don't agree. Every person in this universe always goes with the dissatisfactions. That is why he is coming back to the universe. If he has got a satisfaction, why should he come to this universe? He always goes with the dissatisfactions. Suppose, let me tell you like this. A person who has earned a lot of wealth, at the end moment, he will say, I don't know how my family is going to enjoy this. Why don't you give me a God 1 more day more or 1 year more? Like this always be there in his mind. If he is a poor, he will say, then how my family will survive? Okay. So this normally happens in the human psychology is. But nobody goes with the satisfactions. Like similarly, if you see the next one, yeah, if you see the life of a business, it always starts with the two things. One is in a happy and energy. I'll tell you what is that happy and energy. When I'll talk about and I say that the corporate balance sheet and all these things, in that I will discuss what is those two elements are about. Now, when the business starts with a happy and energy, it will lead to two situations. One is a satisfaction, and other is going to say that dissatisfactions. If the dissatisfactions, it has to go out. Like what the human being is doing, the similar manner, the business will go off. But if there is a satisfaction is there, new energy is being developed and the new happiness is being developed by the business, and again it is rebooted in the business. Again it goes for a two sense called as I say again satisfaction and dissatisfactions. So this is a life of a business and the human beings. If you see that, are they not looking in the same, when you compare the life of a business, when you compare the life of the human being, are they not looking similar in these cases, in these two cases? That means why can't we call a business as a person? Whatever is being taught in the accounting concept at the very beginning, I feel that that is the true. But we don't understand the business. We take the business as an say that non-human being, anything we can do, in any emotion it can feel. But business has got an emotion. But it never reveals to the other. But you will come to know. Let me tell you one day, like suppose if the person is starting the business, you will find the happiness in the premises. The day he is going to close the business, you can see that the lull atmosphere that is prevailing in that particular arena, and people are looking, you can see the faces of the human being, how look it's sad when the business is getting closed. So that means business has got an emotion. To me, it looks that the business got an emotion. So I want to prove today how the business has got that emotion. It is only possible due to certain reason only. So unless and until I prove my hypothesis here, then only I can say that business is a person. So let us see in my next slide. We always use a word called as an organization. Isn't so now? All right, let me do one thing. Let me divide this organization into two parts. Organizations. What do you mean by ization is? Ization has got nothing meaning. You just open the even Oxford dictionary also, you will find ization has got no meaning. It is only an adverb added to a noun. That means it is a prefix to the noun. It made the word as an organization. That's it. That means organ. Organ means what? It's a part. That means a business has got a part. So if business has got a part, organ is there, that means business is a person. Let us see. Let us see in my next slide. I made an essay business. I'm calling this as a person. If this is a person, that means it has got an organ. Like in your body, you have got a heart, you have got a say that kidney, you have got a say that pancreas, you got a other like some other intestine. Organs are there. If all the organ doesn't functions, what will happen? It is a corpus. Similarly, right now, this is a corpus. That is why I'm calling this as a corporations. Corporate, I'm using the word corporate. Corporate is normally used for large companies. But to me, I'm calling this as a corporate corpus. From the corpus, I'm making this as a corporate. Now, if
Sir,
yeah, yeah.
voice is low actually.
Now is it audible?
Yeah, yes, sir. Now it's perfect. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Now, if I say this is a man, or this is a say that a person. Person means what? It can be a baby, or it can be an elderly person. It can be he, she, or anything you can call it. So that's why I say that business is a person. And then business got an emotion. If the business got an emotion, then business got an organ. If the business got an organ, what are those organs are? You are calling it a marketing, you calling it as a finance, you call it as an HR, you call it as an operations, you call it as a system, you call it as an international business. When these organs are fitted in that person, now it has to function. How your body functions? Everybody will say that the body functions because of a virus. So let us see what is happening over here. And moreover, any individual, say like for example, if you want to measure the performance of a human being, you are applying in a 360-degree appraisal, a performance analysis, or project report is made on him, or something, some type of an essay that the analysis has been carried out. So how you will perform that business? How can you say that your business has gone up, or how you can say that your business has gone down? How it is possible? Normally, we do it by say that opening a final statement called as a trading profit and loss account on the balance sheet. Now, I'm not going to tell you anything on the profit and loss account on the balance sheet is. I'm going to tell you a new subject, which is called as emotional balance sheet. You just open any of the Google, any of the sheet, anywhere you see that, nothing has been written related to it. It's all my own thinking or my experience, maybe my experience in the industry, which I have faced and I have gone through my life. I found out these balance sheet speaks, you know that? This trading account speaks, this profit and loss account speaks. You'll be wondering out that I have become a lunatic. No, I will tell you this balance sheet speaks. You'll be wondering out how it is possible the balance sheet can speak. How it is possible the trading account can speak? Now let us see that. That is what the wonder we have to see. Now, when these bad virus like worry, tension, fear, anxiety, promise, jealousy, nepotism, adversity, tear, sad, angry, lethargy, when it all goes to the body, then man started functioning. Similarly, when these all bad virus enter into the body of say the business, what you are calling it as a person, it will start functioning. It will start activating. It will give activations to all the organ. It will give an activation to marketing. It will give an activation to finance. It will give an activation to operations. Everything will start operating on its own when these bad viruses enter. Similarly, now, if there is a bad virus is there, it means the good virus is also there. Yes. Smile, cheer, joy, eagerness, anticipations, alert. This also enter into your body. Okay, when there is a smile is there, you just for a while you smile and then you forget. A cheer is there, that is also for a joy. Everything, this is not going to stay for a longer period. Now, similarly, in the business also, this is found. When every financial transaction is taking place in the business, it has got an emotion. Now my question is, why this emotion is not clear to the eyes of the human being is? Because I told you we are not a social animal. We are an animal. Okay? We don't think that in an in-depth manner like this. Business also suffers. Business also progress. At the end of the day, what the human being is looking it out, his own self-reliance, his self-acquisitions. He wants that whatever he is earning, he must get. The way when you are happy, you share your happiness. Like this, a business also share its happiness. And that is what I'm going to tell you, that how it is taking place. So I need a performance analysis. Because if I don't have that performance analysis, how can you say that the business is performing? Business is feeling, it has got a feeling like that. So let us look into it. Let us look into it. The business starts with an emotional balance sheet. Look at how that energy is looking shine and look that happiness is when the business is starting. Who is providing that energy is? The energy is provided either by the group or an individual or the public, which you are calling in your financial term as a capital, partners capital, and the share capital. When that energy is being introduced in the business, it brings the happiness. What is that happiness is? That is the cash. Suppose if I give you and say that 1 lakh rupees in your hand, won't you get happy within a second? That is the same thing with the business also. Business is also, when it gets the money, it will also become happy. When it doesn't get the money, it becomes sad. So you don't, because we are seeing in terms of the values. We are not seeing the balance sheet in terms of an emotion that it has got. No one is ready to analyze the emotional balance sheet like this. Think in a philosophical term. Think in a psychological term. Don't think in terms of say that money basis. Think what the business has got an emotion is about. Let me tell you one thing. See, as the business progress, it creates a proud group. Like if an individual marry and then he make its own family. Okay? He has a son who will be very proud, daughter will be very proud, or son may not be a proud, daughter may not be a proud. So like this, business has gotten a proud group. What is that proud group is? That is asset management. You are buying a plant and machinery. You are buying a land and building. You are buying say that equipment. You buy say that inventories. You put money in say that investments. At the end, this proud group will bring to the business a loud hue and cry. It all depends how you are going to manage. Suppose if you manage your child very progressively, you get say that proud group shines. If you don't know that how to manage your own family, that means your son is gone out of your hand, your daughter is gone out of your hand. So similar, the same thing happens in the business also. If you don't know how to manage your plant and equipment, you don't take care of your plant and equipment, you don't take care of your furniture, you don't take care of your fixtures, you don't take care of a land and building. At the end, what will happen to these assets? They will lose its shineness. When they lose their shine, what will happen? You have to throw it off, discard. It will go away from the business. What happened with your son and daughter? Similar thing. They go away from your place. So, people always say that. People say that Warren Buffett, what he said is correct. What Dr. Pooja has said in our last thing, the Warren Buffett has said that only the greedy, and then I say that emotion is going to be playing a very important thing. That's what I'm going to show here. All right. The business has started, it progress. The business has purchased a building, business has purchased, and I say that plant and equipment, business has purchased a land and building. So many things has been purchased by the business. Why? It want to show that I'm in the business now. I got a support. This is what it had to show to the community. Okay. Now you're looking about and I say that foreign invaders and then neighbors, that we will talk at the end, not now. Once you see that how the energy was shining, how the happiness was there. Once those things shyness have gone in those two elements, who has become quite shine? That proud has become the shine. That means you should know in your business how to manage your asset. Let me tell you, there are so many companies which have closed. Can you tell me where is the Kelvinator is? Can you tell me where is the BPL is? Recently, you have seen that the Videocon has become, let's say, bankrupt and insolvency. Who is responsible for this? Who is responsible for this? To whom you will share this blame? It's very difficult. It's very difficult to say you cannot. So that means business didn't know that how to manage the assets. Okay, let us talk about and I say that what happens. See, you should know how to manage your expectations and you should know how to manage your anticipations. Now, if I tell you in a financial term, on my left-hand side, or you can see on your left-hand side, I've written a word expectations. But in a financial term, we say that this is a cost of goods sold. This is the cost of goods sold. What it consists of, your opening stock, your overheads, your direct expenses, your direct wages, everything has been, you are showing that. That's an expectations. Whenever you start your business, you start with an expectations. When that expectation is not measurable, though it has gotten because it is made on the probability. Can you tell me then how much stock you have to buy? Can you tell me then how much you are going to pay to your labor? Because it is an expectations. What purpose that expectation is created? Now the question is, what is the purpose for which the expectation is created? The expectation is created to get the anticipations. Anticipation is a forecast. People don't understand the anticipation like in a forecasters. They play with the anticipations. Let me tell you one thing, very simple one. If the cost of goods sold is at 10 rupees per unit, and the industry is selling that at 18 rupees, what purpose that 8 rupees is charged? Who told you to charge at 8 rupees? How you charge that 8 rupees is? What is the base? The people will say that no, A has started the business with 18 rupees, he got the market. And B has started the business, he also got the market, and C has also got the market. You are an E. When you are as an E, when you are entering, do you know that you are going to get an 18 rupees for your product is? You don't understand. You don't understand what is your anticipation is. Because we have been taught to calculate the ratios in the financial term, like say that your partial satisfaction divided by anticipations, or say the partial satisfaction by the anticipations. What do you mean by that? You're calling it a gross profit and you're calling it as a net profit ratios. What you will get, what analysis will get by comparing your satisfactions with the anticipations. That means, now the one I told you that sometimes what will happen, the expectation of an industry will become a very high. Like for example, an industry where 100 rupees or 100 unit has been produced, but market is accepting only a 20 unit. On what basis you made this expectations? That time it will create a fear, anger. Okay. Audacity. So many things will arises. Nepotism. You want to cheat someone. All these type of emotions that take place because of the expectation of the business or the anticipations of that businesses. No doubt. Some of the engineers will say that nowadays an expectations of every company has been minimized by using say that JIT techniques, just in a time, or the people will say that the lean engineering has been applied, and what is call it? You got to say that Kaizen costing. You got to say that Kanban system has been applied. It is not applied in all the industries. It is applied only in the Japanese industries, because the Japanese have learned the lesson from their loss. In 1970, what happened? I will tell you this thing. The Toyota industry had a loss of, say, 70,000 cars. It is around worked about, say that 10,000 billion yen. Yen around, say that 10,000 billion they have lost. The market is. The company was very silent. Nobody knows what happened to the Toyota that time is. Can you tell me what is the reason that the HMT has got closed? Once upon a time, the HMTs were the leaders in the market. Why the HMT can't able to stay in the market as today? Why? Because they are not ready to change their expectations. There are some industry, they've got say traditional way of working as. So if these type of things prevails, you cannot increase your expectations, you cannot do an anticipations. There is an argument will come. Sir, sometimes that anticipations the customer had to agree. Yes, we don't have any other alternative. Let me tell you one thing. Yesterday's newspaper, I saw that the price of the Amul milk has increased by 2 rupees. Can you revolt? Can any one of us revolt against these prices? The cooking gas has increased by 25 rupees. What is the purpose during this COVID time why these prices have been increased? What is the reason behind that? That means the company is making a false anticipations from the market. And they know that everyone will cow down to these pressures. So therefore, whenever there is an expectations and anticipations are made, it should be made on the balancing basis. It's to make a balance is a very difficult one. But people follow the price determined by the government, or you can say that benchmarking. They don't know industry think of its own. They will study the market, what is the market price of that product is. More or less up and down, maybe 19-20 का changes होगा उसके अंदर. But who is that person who said 18 rupees? That the question is. That decision can go wrong also and may lead for an say that right also, certain time. I will tell you one thing. Now, due to this COVID, there are some industries are making the money out of it, like sanitary companies. The sanitations, whatever this you are getting it out. Those companies are charging an exorbitant price from the consumer. Consumers are paying for that. Why? Because it's a short-term industry. These type of industries cannot stay in the market for a longer period. I will call these type of industries or climatic industries. That's it. Okay. Now, this anticipation is also creates a foreign invaders. You know that? I have written here a foreign invaders. Who are those foreign invaders? That is your sundry debtors. Why? Because of the greediness in the business. When you can't get the money, when you can't get the happiness, you try to create the happiness in some other mode. What is that mode? That is basically you are giving the goods on credit. That is why I'm calling as foreign invaders. If you would have worked in say that an accounting sections of companies or something, you would know that the amount of the bill that mounts each and every year, that the shareholder does not know this. Why? Why you are creating a foreign invaders? You tell the foreign invaders that you can make the payment on a delay basis. That means you are creating your accounts payable, your accounts receivable. You tell them that you make the payment after 20 days. Now, that 20 days is going to create a tension in your mind. That's going to create a fear in your mind. That's going to create an anxiety in your mind. When this foreign invader become a bad invader, it will always lead to an angry, because it become a bad debts. You are showing your angry in the best profit and loss account statement. Suppose if the person doesn't pay, what we will say? We'll get an angry. Isn't so? Similarly, business also get angry. It calls he's a bad debtor. What that means? The emotion is being shown in that particular value. It shows the angry of say that the businesses. The shows anger of how much anger it's showing it out. Or you can say that the tier that is you can find out from it. Or sometimes what will happen? These bad debts, some foreign invaders will do like this. They will say that they will keep on postponing their payment. What is the maximum the business can find? It will show the outstanding in the profit and loss account statement. What is that? It is showing its tier. वो रो रहा है, business रो रहा है. क्यों? Smile नहीं है. There is no cheer is there. There is no joy is there. Business is sad. Has anyone seen this? See, whenever we always talk about the emotional intelligence, we talk between the human being only. We talk about the investors only. Have you seen this in the corporate balance sheet? Okay. So let us talk about further. Suppose a worry comes out. Suppose let us take that. A corporate is not having say that land and building. It is on rent. It is paying the rent every month. And some of them, every time when it pays the rent, it always create a worry in its mind. How I'm going to pay this money? Forget about all these things. Let me tell you one thing about the salary. Have you ever thought of the salary, how the business is going to pay? We never think. Because we are I told you, we are the human animals. We don't have that type of feelings in our mind. How the business is going to pay that money? It is not the question of an employer and an employee relationship here. It is not the question of any stakeholders or anything of that sort. Now think psychologically how that business is going to pay you the money. That create a worry in its mind, tension in its mind. If it want to pay the interest for the loan it has taken, when I will show you here, I will show you in this slide. It creates a foreign neighbors. You know that? I will not tell you who these neighbors are. Maybe your bank, maybe your sundry creditors. You create a neighbor. When you create a neighbor to pay out your expenses or your working capital of your business, to maintain your working capitals, you are taking in a say that the help of the foreign neighbors. See, these neighbors always create fear in your mind. What is that fear is? The interest that is payable to these neighbors who has helped you during your bad situations. Is it not? Suppose if they say that if the business has paid the interest 1 lakh rupees, let us assume, is it not showing a fear? Are you not measuring thinking in psychological term? Don't think in a value term. Think psychologically. That is how it is going to pay that 1 lakh rupees. Okay. So, like this, there's so many things. Sometimes even the business also become lethargic. Okay. I'm not telling, it also becomes sometimes indiscipline. How you don't pay your tax. That is an indiscipline basically out. You are showing a letharginess over there. What is the reason for that letharginess and what is the reason for the indiscipline is because the business didn't had any smile, cheer, joy, fear, that eager anticipations, alert, and the discipliners. So therefore, always keep it in mind that it is a very essential being the part of whether he is an employer, whether it's an employee, whether he is a stakeholder, or whether he is any other person, shareholders, whatever you call it. You are working for the business. When you are working for the business, you think what type of what a bad virus you are injecting it and what are the good virus you are injecting to it. Here we are the human being. We look for our benefits. We look for our development. We don't think that business has got an emotions. So, every items, every transaction, financial transactions, if I break into an n number of transactions, you will come to know. All right. Okay. And let me tell you one thing. If you don't pay your bills payable, the goods you have taken from your supplier, but you have not paid him a bill, Is it not an indiscipline? Do you call it as a discipline over there? No. Why we are delaying this type of emotions? The reason is that it's an anticipations. That means you should know in the corporate how to manage your anticipations. Now, that is why I told you in my very beginning of this, in this slide, I told you that efficiency should be measured as a sale minus cost of sale divided by the overheads. Whether the profit is capable of holding the overhead or not. One person will say, let us take that your numerator is around 100, denominator is 10. No, it is a horrible figure it is. You're showing your efficiency as a 10 units. No, this is absolutely wrong. Or if you are showing your overhead is in a, say that 100, the top you are showing in a 1, that too is wrong. That means you don't know how to measure the efficiency of your business. What is the main thing a corporate had to do first? Or what an entrepreneur has to do? What a businessman has to do? First, you measure your overhead. Don't measure what is your cost of goods sold, what is your this thing. First, you measure your overhead is. Measuring the overhead is very essential. Okay? Then only you can think of. That is why people say that the budget is to be made, or sometimes the people say that you have to create a standard costing in the industry. No, that is not, that should not be done. That absolutely should not be done. Because you are putting some hurdle in the progress. You are creating a hatred in the business. When you introduce a standard costing, when you introduce a budget, people feel that they have been got stringent with these type of measures. And the human being will not work accordingly. Freedomly will not work. So it is a very essential that you should know how to manage your overheads. Many of the industry, they don't know how to manage the overheads. Do you know that why the companies are getting closed in India? Why they are going for the merger? Why they are going for, say, that acquisitions? Why they are going for amalgamations? The reason is that they don't know how to manage the overheads. Recently, you have seen Vodafone and then say that Idea phone. Recently, they got merged. They got amalgamated. When they got amalgamated, what's the reason behind that? Did any one of you seen that the balance sheet of these two industries? You just check it on your income statement. You'll come to know the reality of these two businesses. Because most of the business where the overhead is not maintained properly, it will always lead to these situations. Now, why can't you measure on the basis of the emotion your value is? Worry has got a group. How the worry has been created. Tension has got a group. Now say that tension is, and say that 1,000 rupees. On your total overhead, what is the percentage of tension is? On your satisfaction, what is your tension is? Why can't we measure like this? Then we will come to understand that the business has got, say, a lot of tension. Then we can think that how to remove this tension is. And most of you will agree with me also that recently you found that most of the MNCs have closed their workshops in, say, Gurgaon. The workstation they have completely closed. and they're asking their company people to work from home. Why? They found they don't want to, that MNC say that now I don't want to take that worry, tension and fear in my mind. I don't have to pay for my air conditions. I don't have to pay for my office setup. Those expenses have gone. When those expenses have gone, why can't I increase in my joy and fear, joy and cheer in some other formations? See, you have to find out an alternative for everything. Similarly, if you got a building is there, okay, if the building is keep on depreciating and you are not taking care of your building and it is getting depreciated every year, what it will give you? It will give you tears in your eye. The 10 years back, my building was looking like that palace. After 10 years, it is looking, just go and see that in Connaught Place in Calcutta, you go and see the Charangi line. You go to that Mumbai. Okay? All these places, you go and see that the building, how it's look like, shabby. Is it not crying? Because we don't have any emotions. We don't see that why that building is crying. So this is what it looks to me. An emotional profit and loss account, or say that at the end, let me tell you one thing. And then what happens? Look here. When the emotional balance sheet ends, it will have only two things: satisfactions and the dissatisfactions. What happened to your energy? What happened to your happiness? Gone. It is gone out of the business. Can you have the cheer which you had at the beginning of your business? Can you gain that same today? Because it has taken by, say, satisfactions and the dissatisfactions. Satisfaction means what? You are creating a reserve, you are creating your profit and loss account, you are creating your the different types of provisions. Because that proud group is still there. If you don't create a safeguard for that provision, how can you maintain that proud group is? Isn't so? That is what I felt, that whenever we are reading the balance sheet, whoever the finance person we are, we don't see the emotion that is hidden in that particular balance sheet. We read it as say it's a value. So that is why I told you, the end of the balance sheet will come to only two things: satisfactions and the dissatisfactions. If it is showing a dissatisfactions, this balance sheet ends. If it shows a satisfaction, that means it is going to revive. When it revives, what will happen? The energy will it will show little bit, it will become a bigger. And the happiness also become a bigger. With that amount of the biggerness, we don't understand that same happiness we have got when again we plow back our profit without understanding, without thinking that, because that's a jealousiness is there. If that industry has got say so many customers, why can't I go into that business and make more money out of it? So I got literally confused while doing this research. Am I talking very emotionally to it? Is there what have been said that business is a person is right? I'm literally getting puzzled. When it is a person, why the employer, employee, stakeholder, or that foreign invaders, foreign neighbors, why they are not behaving properly. When you are finding so many emotions are there in these transactions, I've spoken a very few related statement over here. There are n number of dissatisfactions are there in this business. What is the reason behind that? Are we as a human being, are we not cooperating? Now, my last question to you all, who is responsible and who to be blamed? Rightly, Dr. Pooja has said, are we doing this consciously or unconsciously? Share your thoughts, because I'm getting so much puzzled after seeing so many balance sheets, working on so many projects, after seeing so many profit and loss accounts of the company. I feel there is something is wrong in these type of figures, where we have to control our emotions. I want to tell the business, you control the emotion over here. Don't get angry. Don't get overjoyed. When you get any interest in the business, you will have a smile. That's it, because that is a fear is other side is. You have to pay back. It's only a smile. When you're selling the assets, you're selling an asset with an anticipation. That anticipation cannot grow. That die downs when there is say that some tear is there, when the sadness is there on the opposite side is. So don't blame the between us, or I'll say that don't blame the human beings. Find out the emotion. Find out where the emotion is going wrong. And are we doing consciously? What type of I'm still wondering about what type of a human being we are. At the end of the day, there is no solution to these two answers. I want to share, if anybody want to discuss on this issue, you're most welcome. And I'm thankful for everyone for giving me an opportunity to talk on this subject and to share my thoughts related to this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was such a great experience to hear from you. Thank you so much. I would like to mention some questions from the participants. Yogesh sir wants to ask that, sir, when in the starting you were talking about emotions, he is asking that emotions should be there in the organization or it should be there in the person who is running it.
No. Let me tell you one thing, Dr. Yogesh, I want to share my thoughts with you. It is neither the employer is responsible nor the employee is responsible. Can you blame the employer? If tomorrow he is not paying your salary, he is also a human being. Have you ever thought from the emotional point of view? You are thinking, because that is a selfishness is there on your mind, you are thinking in that directions. Think philosophically. Think psychologically. You should know that no one is responsible for this current situation. You cannot blame your employer, nor the employer can blame you. That is what I'm telling you, where the solution lies. Where the solution lies. It all lies in the greedy. You know, the greediness is called as a coronavirus. It is there from the very beginning, from my traditional time. Mughal time. Mughal what? Alexander time I will talk about. The greediness is there. If you remove this greediness from your mind, everything will become all right. But this coronavirus, nobody can remove. You inject COVID, you inject Covishield, you inject anything into it, this greediness will not go. Unless and until this greediness will not go from your mind or from the, say, the organizations or from any of the element, how can you balance your emotions? See, I'm talking so emotionally like this. Okay, I do commit a mistake. I'm also a human being. I'm also like you people only. I'm not going to say God. This is only a thought it came to me that I want to share. That's it. Okay, thank you, Yogesh. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. The next question is also from Yogesh sir only. He is asking that getting profit is the ultimate objective of an artificial body, and emotion of the stakeholders are linked with it. Is it correct?
I will not accept, because the reason is that if you say that profit is your right, then accept the loss also of the companies. Accept the loss. You're going to give in a space small share in the companies. If the company asks you to share, suppose you are holding only 100 shares in your hand. The company you're going to lose only in 100. Who is going to bear the other thing? Who is going to bear other things? That is why the just and equitable rule has been given by the Supreme Court, that everyone in the business has to share the losses. Don't say that it is your right to share the profits. It's absolutely wrong. That means you are thinking, I'm telling you now, the way you are thinking is, and I say that, not on the psychological term. You think from the psychological term. Okay? Everyone had to share that loss. When you are sharing a profit, you share the loss. When you are sharing the joy, you share the tear also. If you don't share the tear, no, I will not share the tear. Why should I? I born only to bear only and say that happiness in my life. Then you are not a human being. Then don't say that you are a person. A person has got emotions. So you should know how to balance these two. Well, thank you very much. Next one.
Thank you so much, sir. That was it for the questions. Thank you so much for answering them.
So, thank you very much for sharing my thoughts. In case if you want to discuss further related to it, I am very happy that if you share your thoughts related to this one, will be very helpful for me to think more beyond this. Okay, thank you for inviting.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Concluding the event here, I would like to extend my warm thank you to the speakers, Pooja ma'am, for sharing her knowledge regarding how to effectively apply the emotional intelligence in financial decision making, so that these decisions can be taken care of, and to A.S. Ram Narayanan sir for enlightening us all with his thoughts and experiences regarding how to manage the corporate financial psychology, which has now become a matter of concern to the corporates, and also to the wonderful attendees who have joined with great enthusiasm and were there with us till the end. I hope this session was helpful in clearing your concepts regarding the topics. We will be having our next session of this MDP tomorrow, that is 3rd July 2021, on this platform only at 5 p.m. sharp. Hope to see you all there. Till then, bye-bye, take care and stay safe.